Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel.
Hi guys, so happy to have you here with us again today.
Okay, so I did something a little chaotic before we started filming. I went online and pulled together a bunch of actual sentences from real English textbooks.
Oh no. Oh, I know exactly where this is going.
And today we're reacting to them, live, completely unfiltered as native speakers.
I am simultaneously excited and terrified.
As you should be. Welcome back everyone, I'm David.
And I'm Emma, and today's format is simple. David's going to read me real textbook sentences, and I'm reacting completely honestly, no scripting, no holding back.
No mercy either, I'm guessing.
Zero mercy.
All right, let's start with a classic. This one is apparently from a beginner-level dialogue textbook. Hello, my name is John. What is your name? My name is Mary. Nice to meet you, John. Nice to meet you too, Mary.
Nobody talks like this. Nobody has ever, in the recorded history of human conversation, introduced themselves with that much formal repetition.
It's like two robots confirming each other's identity for a security clearance.
Nice to meet you, John. Nice to meet you too, Mary. We just say each other's names maybe once, if at all, and honestly, half the time we forget the name 5 seconds later anyway.
That's honestly relatable. Okay, next one. Also apparently very common in beginner textbooks. How are you? I am fine, thank you. And you? I am fine too, thank you.
This phrase alone has probably caused more confusion for learners than almost anything else in the entire English language.
Because it's not wrong grammatically, it's just nobody says it.
It's the equivalent of a formal government form. State your current well-being status. We say good, not bad, can't complain, hanging in there, sometimes just a groan if it's been a rough week.
A groan is a completely valid, understood response in real English.
Completely valid. All right, give me the next one.
This one's from what looks like an intermediate grammar textbook. It is raining cats and dogs outside.
Okay, to be fair, that one's a real idiom. People do say it, but
But
almost nobody under the age of about 60 says it anymore. It reads like something out of a very old British sitcom.
so it's technically real English, just extremely dated real English.
Exactly. It's the linguistic equivalent of teaching someone a slang word from 40 years ago and telling them it's current.
Which happens a lot in textbooks actually, doesn't it? A phrase gets written into a textbook decades ago and it just never gets updated.
Constantly. Textbooks move incredibly slowly and casual language moves incredibly fast. So there's this permanent lag where the example dialogue always feels a little frozen in time.
Next one. I would like to purchase this item, please. How much does it cost?
Purchase? Nobody says purchase when they're buying a coffee.
We say buy, or honestly, we don't even say a full sentence. We just say, how much is this, while holding up the item.
Or just point at it with a confused face. That works too, universally, in any language.
The international language of how much.
Exactly. Okay, what's next?
This one made me laugh out loud reading it earlier. Excuse me, sir, could you please tell me the correct time?
The correct time as opposed to what? The incorrect time?
I think it's trying to translate directly from a more formal structure in another language, but in English, it just sounds oddly suspicious, like you think the person's watch might be lying to you.
We just say, hey, do you have the time? Or even shorter, got the time? Nobody adds correct in there.
Unless you're specifically worried their watch is broken, in which case, fair, ask away.
Fair point. Next one, please.
All right, moving into some grammar textbook dialogue now. Where is the nearest post office? I need to send a very important letter.
Okay, first of all, when's the last time either of us sent an actual letter?
Genuinely can't remember.
These textbook dialogues are stuck in this weird alternate universe where everyone's constantly mailing important letters and asking strangers for directions to buildings that most people under 30 have never personally visited.
It's giving very learning English in 1995 energy.
Extremely. Though to be fair, if you did need a post office in real life, you'd probably just say, is there a post office nearby? Much shorter, much more natural.
Okay, here's one that I think is going to make you personally upset based on our last video.
Oh no, what is it?
I am very well, thank you for asking. How do you do?
How do you do? That is not a question anyone has asked me in my entire life.
It's apparently a formal British greeting, historically.
Historically being the key word. My grandmother's generation, maybe. Nobody says how do you do walking into a coffee shop in London today.
And the correct response, apparently, is to just repeat how do you do back to the person, not actually answer the question.
Which is genuinely one of the strangest social rituals I've ever heard described. And I say that as someone who grew up with this language.
It's honestly a fascinating little fossil of formal English frozen in a textbook somewhere, still being taught to learners as if it's current.
Poor learners walking around saying, how do you do, to baristas.
All right, next category, textbook phone conversations. This one's a personal favorite of mine. Hello, this is John speaking. May I ask who is calling, please?
Okay, this is John speaking. Nobody adds speaking anymore. We just say, hello, and let the confusion sort itself out from there.
Very true. And may I ask who is calling, we just say, who's this? Much blunter, much less formal.
Phone etiquette in textbooks is stuck somewhere around the era of rotary phones and telegrams. And it's honestly never really been updated to reflect how casual most phone calls actually are now.
Also, half the time now, we just text instead of calling, so this whole scenario is becoming a little outdated in general.
True, though I guess you up doesn't quite fit the tone of a formal textbook dialogue.
Somehow, I don't think that one's making it to the next edition.
Give me another one. I'm enjoying this.
This one's from a restaurant-themed lesson. Waiter, might I request the bill if it is not too much trouble?
If it is not too much trouble, we would just say, can I get the check? Or could we get the bill, please?
The politeness level in that textbook sentence is honestly higher than most native speakers use, even when talking to their own boss.
It's giving royal court energy, like you're requesting an audience with a king, not asking for your restaurant check.
Which, again, isn't wrong technically, it's just so far above the natural register that it actually sounds a bit strange, maybe even a little sarcastic if a native speaker heard it.
Right, and that's such an important point actually, buried inside all the jokes. Overly formal English in the wrong context doesn't read as polite to native ears. It reads as unusual or even slightly comedic.
Which nobody explains to learners. You're taught that more formal equals safer, but sometimes it just makes you sound like a character from a period drama.
Exactly. Okay, what's next?
Let's do a classic grammar exercise sentence. The cat sat on the mat while the dog barked loudly at the postman.
Why is there always a cat on a mat?
It's apparently one of the most repeated example sentences in English learning materials, historically.
It's simple, it rhymes a little, it's grammatically clean. I understand why it exists pedagogically, but it's also just very funny that this exact scenario has been taught to millions of learners across decades.
Somewhere out there, there's a whole generation of English learners who can perfectly describe a cat sitting on a mat, but have never learned how to say, I'm gonna grab a coffee.
Genuinely tragic in a very specific niche way.
All right, one more phone-related one, because these are consistently the funniest. I am terribly sorry, but I seem to have dialed the wrong number.
I seem to have dialed the wrong number. We just say, oh, sorry, wrong number, and hang up, usually within about 2 seconds.
The whole exchange, start to finish, is maybe 5 words in real life, compared to that entire formal sentence.
Real conversation is just so much more economical than textbook conversation. Native speakers cut absolutely everything that isn't essential.
Which honestly is a great insight for learners watching this. If you want to sound more natural, shorter is often more native than longer and more correct.
Completely agree. All right, should we do a few rapid-fire ones to close this out?
Let's do it, rapid fire round.
Go.
Might I trouble you for a glass of water?
Can I get some water?
I am afraid I must decline your kind invitation.
Sorry, can't make it.
It has come to my attention that the weather is rather inclement today.
It's raining. Ugh.
That last one especially, nobody in the history of casual conversation has ever said, it has come to my attention that the weather is rather inclement.
That sentence belongs in a legal document, not a beginner's dialogue about small talk.
A couple more. I would be most grateful if you could assist me with this matter.
Could you help me with this?
It is my understanding that the establishment closes at 8 o'clock in the evening.
I think it closes at 8.
Might I be so bold as to inquire about your profession?
What do you do? 4 words does the exact same job.
Every single one of these textbook versions is somehow 4 or 5 times longer than what a real person would actually say.
It's honestly a pretty consistent ratio at this point. Whatever the textbook sentence is, just imagine cutting it down to about a fifth of the length, and you'll usually land pretty close to how a native speaker would actually say it.
That's genuinely a useful rule of thumb for anyone watching this who's trying to sound more natural.
Let's do a couple more before we wrap up, because I found some genuinely incredible ones scrolling through these materials. This one's from a travel-themed lesson. Excuse me, kind sir, would you be so gracious as to direct me towards the railway station?
Kind sir, so gracious? We're asking for directions to a train station, not requesting a favor from royalty.
We'd just say, hey, which way's the train station? 5 words, completely understood, 0 graciousness required.
Textbooks really do treat every single request like it's a formal petition to a monarch.
Here's another one from what looks like a shopping dialogue. I wonder if you might possibly have this garment available in a smaller size.
Garment. Nobody says garment. We say shirt, jacket. This while literally holding up the item and gesturing vaguely.
And I wonder if you might possibly. That's 4 hedging phrases stacked on top of each other before you even get to the actual request.
We just say, do you have this in a smaller size? One sentence, no wondering, no possibly, no might.
It's like the textbook version is scared to just directly ask for anything.
Genuinely. Okay, one more and then let's do the rapid fire round. This one's from an apology-themed lesson. I do sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused you.
That one's actually not that far off from real corporate or customer service English, to be fair.
True, that's actually one of the more realistic ones on this list, honestly, if you're in a formal customer service context.
But in casual conversation between friends?
Oh, completely different. We just say, sorry about that, or my bad. Maybe, sorry, that's on me, if we're feeling extra guilty.
My bad would never survive in one of these textbooks, though.
Never. Too casual, too slangy, doesn't sound proper enough, even though it's genuinely one of the most common apology phrases among younger native speakers today.
Which is such a good example of the real gap here. Modern, extremely common casual phrases just don't make it into textbooks nearly fast enough.
By the time a phrase like that gets added to a textbook, it might already be halfway out of fashion again.
Language moves so much faster than publishing cycles.
All right, that's our list for today, and honestly, I think the pattern is pretty clear across every single one of these.
It really is. Textbooks tend to teach a version of English that's overly formal, often outdated, and much longer than what native speakers actually say in real casual situations.
Which isn't the textbook's fault entirely. Formal, grammatically complete sentences are genuinely useful for teaching structure and rules.
Right, there's real value in learning the full, correct version first, but it's important to know that real conversation strips almost all of that formality away. And that's not a mistake, that's just how the language actually lives outside the classroom.
So if you've ever felt like your English sounds a bit stiff or overly formal compared to native speakers, now you know exactly why. It's not you, it's the material.
Drop your favorite outdated textbook phrase in the comments. We know there are so many more out there we didn't get to today.
And if this made you laugh or made you feel personally attacked by your old textbook, let us know that too.
If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe because we've got a follow-up planned where we react to actual AI-generated English lessons next. And based on what we've seen so far, it's going to be even funnier.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
See you in the next one.